Every time you forgive their toxicity, you abandon yourself. Those words from Stoic philosopher Epictetus echo through time, speaking directly to those of us caught in the web of toxic relationships. What if I told you that your attraction to toxic people isn't a flaw in your character, but rather a challenge that the universe has presented for your growth, a test of your inner strength that, once mastered, will transform you into an unshakable force of nature? The magnetic pull of toxic individuals affects even the strongest among us. Like moths to a destructive flame, we find ourselves drawn to those who drain our energy, challenge our peace, and test our resilience. Yet, as Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Today, we'll explore why our minds betray us in this dance of destruction, and more importantly, how ancient Stoic wisdom offers us a path to liberation. Consider this: every toxic relationship you've endured has been preparing you for this moment of enlightenment. The Stoics taught that our greatest growth comes not from avoiding difficulty, but from facing it with wisdom and courage. As Seneca proclaimed, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Through this journey together, we'll discover how your attraction to toxic people isn't your destiny. It's your opportunity to reclaim your power. The modern psychologist, Dr. Ramani Durvasula, aligns with Stoic philosophy when she explains that our attraction to toxic individuals often stems from early life experiences. Yet, the ancient Stoics knew something more profound. Our power lies not in understanding why we're attracted to toxicity, but in our ability to choose our response to it. This understanding becomes our first step toward freedom. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 3 powerful Stoic principles that will forever change how you view toxic relationships. These aren't just philosophical concepts. They're practical tools that have liberated countless souls from the grip of toxic attachments. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast ocean, watching the waves crash against the shore. Each wave represents a toxic pattern you've endured. But like the steadfast cliff face, you possess an innate ability to remain unmoved by these external forces. The Stoics understood this power within us. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This wisdom becomes our compass in navigating away from toxic attractions. The modern world bombards us with messages about fixing toxic people or understanding their behavior. Yet, the Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus offered a simpler truth. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. When we find ourselves drawn to toxic individuals, we're often seeking to heal parts of ourselves through others, a futile endeavor that the Stoics would have recognized as a fundamental misunderstanding of personal power. Our journey through toxic attraction begins with a profound realization. What we perceive as love or attraction often masks a deeper pattern of self-abandonment. Contemporary psychologist Dr. Nicole Lapira's research echoes ancient Stoic wisdom when she explains how our nervous system becomes addicted to chaos. The Stoics knew this phenomenon well. As Marcus Aurelius advised, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Social media and modern culture have normalized toxic behavior patterns, making them seem almost acceptable. However, the Stoic practice of daily self-reflection reveals a stark truth. Our tolerance of toxicity reflects our relationship with ourselves. As Seneca wisely noted, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. This process of unlearning toxic attractions becomes our path to freedom. In the depths of toxic relationships, we often lose sight of our inherent worth. The Stoics understood this struggle intimately, teaching that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. Modern trauma expert Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's research aligns perfectly with this ancient wisdom, showing how our bodies keep the score of our psychological wounds. Here within our shadows of self-doubt lies a transformative truth. Every moment spent in toxic dynamics represents a choice, one that the ancient Stoics understood profoundly. As Zeno of Citium taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say. This wisdom becomes particularly poignant when we examine why we repeatedly choose relationships that diminish our spirit. The modern psychiatrist Dr. Judith Herman's research reveals how trauma bonds create addictive cycles in relationships, mirroring what the Stoic philosopher Cleanthes observed centuries ago. Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. Our attraction to toxic individuals often stems from a misguided attempt to rewrite our past stories. Yet the Stoic path offers a different narrative, one of radical self-responsibility and unwavering inner strength. Consider how the Stoics viewed personal boundaries not as walls, but as sacred spaces of self-respect. When we consistently attract toxic people, we're often operating from what psychologist Dr. Pete Walker calls the fawn response, a survival mechanism that prioritizes others' needs above our own. Yet, as Marcus Aurelius reminded us, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig. The path to breaking free from toxic attractions requires what the Stoics called practical wisdom, the ability to see things as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. Modern attachment theory pioneer Dr. John Bowlby's research confirms what Epictetus knew intuitively. Our early relationships shape our attractions, but they need not define our future choices. In the realm of toxic relationships, we often mistake intensity for intimacy, drama for passion. The Stoics understood this confusion well. As Seneca noted, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. This insight becomes our lantern in the darkness of toxic attachment patterns. Within the chambers of our deepest pain lies the seed of our liberation. The Stoic practice of negative visualization, as described by philosopher William B. Irvine, teaches us to imagine life without toxic influences, not to dwell in fear, but to recognize our inherent completeness. This ancient wisdom aligns perfectly with modern psychologist Dr. Peter Levine's understanding of how we can rewire our trauma responses. The journey of breaking free from toxic attractions demands what the Stoics called philosophical fortitude, the courage to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. Modern neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman's research on neuroplasticity confirms what Musonius Rufus taught. Our brains can be rewired through consistent practice of new thoughts and behaviors, especially when we consciously choose healthier relationships. When we find ourselves drawn to toxic individuals, we're often seeking external validation, a habit the Stoics would have recognized as a form of self-betrayal. Contemporary psychologist Dr. Marcia Linehan's work on emotional regulation mirrors the Stoic teaching that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering our own responses to life's challenges. The process of healing from toxic attractions requires what Marcus Aurelius called the discipline of perception, seeing things as they truly are, without the distortion of our wishes or fears. Modern trauma specialist Dr. Gabor Matea's research validates this ancient wisdom, showing how our unconscious patterns can be brought into conscious awareness and transformed. The Stoics understood that every challenge presents an opportunity for growth. In breaking free from toxic attractions, we're not just avoiding harmful relationships. We're cultivating what psychologist Dr. Daniel Siegel calls earned secure attachment, a state of emotional resilience that aligns perfectly with Stoic ideals of self-sufficiency. As we conclude our journey through this ancient wisdom, Remember what Epictetus taught us. No one can hurt you without your permission. The power to break free from toxic attractions has always resided within you. Modern psychology and ancient Stoic philosophy converge on this fundamental truth. Our liberation begins the moment we choose ourselves. Marcus Aurelius left us with a powerful reminder that serves as our final call to action. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Each new day offers us the opportunity to practice this Stoic wisdom, to choose relationships that honor our worth,